This talk is being addressed to the sane human beings who remain out there, because it seems that a large part of this world has gone insane. Here in Israel, we have witnessed the horrifying murder of one of the great righteous people, one of the great saints, Rabbi Elazar Abuchatzira, which took place this past Thursday night, just 3 days ago. And even though it was carried out by a madman, we all understand that mad and crazy people are a mere reflection of society at large. When people want to become like Napoleon, so the madmen said we're Napoleon. In religious circles, people think that they're the Messiah or JC, etc. And so now crazy people are turning to murder. We've witnessed 3 murders recently. One here in Israel, as I mentioned. One in Norway, where over 90 people, mostly youngsters, were murdered by a madman. And one in New York City, when another New Yorker crazy man butchered a 9-year-old boy. What is God trying to tell us, since God runs the world? It's funny how all these happenings can be tied in to the perversion of morality that we find in our generation. On Thursday, I participated in a rally. We were protesting against the parade that took place the same day here in Jerusalem of a number of gay people. Unfortunately, there were only a few hundred people by the rally. And the next afternoon, there were a few, perhaps 100 of people at the funeral of Rabbi Elazar Abuchatzira. Same thing happened a couple of months ago. There was another gay rally here in Jerusalem, and this time 3,000 people came to protest, but it wasn't enough, because a few days later, tens of thousands of people came to the funeral of an entire family just wiped out by a train. They were in a van, and the van was struck by a moving train, and they were all killed. Entire family. In New York, recently, a law has been passed that allows same-gender marriages. It was a famous case of 2 older women. And after that, we heard of the murder of a 9-year-old child. In Norway, where abortion is legal, in Norway, which has such a permissive society, you find murder. What is the meaning of all this? Why is it so important to have basic morality? We find a very interesting verse in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 9. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. Like the green herbage, I've given you everything. God is talking to Noah and his sons, and he's telling them that now they could eat animals. Before that, man was a vegetarian. But since Noah and his children took care of the animals for over a year in the ark, they were allowed to partake of the animal's flesh. However, your blood, which belongs to your souls, I will demand, that every beast I will demand of it. But man, Every man, for that of his brother I will demand the soul of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God he made man. And you be fruitful and multiply. Teem on the earth and multiply on it. God is telling Noah and his children that whoever sheds the blood of man, his blood will be shed. Noah and his children can now partake of animals. They can kill animals, but they cannot kill human beings. In Hebrew, the verse says, Shoifech dam ha'adam ba'adam. One who sheds the blood of man inside of man. This is telling us that even one who kills an embryo, even one who performs an abortion, his blood is going to be asked for, because abortion is tantamount to murder. Why do people perform abortions? They're not interested in having children. They're just interested in lust. God is not so happy about this. Immediately following the verse, which is we just quoted, that whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. It says, for in the image of God he made man, and you be fruitful and multiply. Teem on the earth and multiply in it. God made man in his image. People are very, very, very important. They're very special. They're in the image of God. And how does being in the image of God manifest itself? Be fruitful and multiply. God created this world. He created all the myriad creations that we see in the universe. And God has given us an amazing power that we can also bring creations to this world. Men and women can have children and bring creations to this world. They are created in the image of God. They're just like God in this respect. What men or women who have same-gender marriages are doing is abusing this right and this power. People who perform abortions are abusing this right and this power. God gave us the power to create human beings, to bring babies into this world. It's a very unique power, and people are abusing it, and God is not happy about it. And therefore, we are witnessing so many tragedies. May God spare us anymore. We all know about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. The entire city was wiped off the face of the earth. Why shouldn't it happen in New York, God forbid, or San Francisco, God forbid? Why not? Why should they get special treatment? It happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. Just because it hasn't happened yet? Look at the Twin Towers. So every person has to make a decision. What does it mean to be a human being? What does it mean to be created in the image of God? And we can't just keep it to ourselves. We have to speak up to our congressmen, to our senators, to our government officials. We have to protest. Some say that protests don't help. Recently, there was an interesting protest here in Israel over the price of cottage cheese. And guess what? It really helped. The price went down from 7 shekels to 4.9 shekels. And now students are protesting about the high price of apartments here in Israel. And all of a sudden, Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister, is getting nervous, and he's starting to make reforms, and he's trying to lower the price of apartments. Well, it's no secret why the price is so high, because the government is making billions of shekels, which equivalent billions of dollars, on our backs, because they charge very high prices when they sell land to the public. And finally they realize, oh, guess what? If we lower the price of land, then the prices of apartments will go down. That wasn't too difficult, was it? but what moved them to do it was demonstrations and protests. If we would protest, if all of us got together and protested every time these lunatics made some kind of parade, then we could change things. What are we waiting for? Some say it's a lack of modesty. Why should our pure children know about these things? Our Torah tells us otherwise. In Genesis we find that Abraham and Sarah had a son called Isaac, and people were questioning Isaac's legitimacy. They said they found in the street maybe Sarah was raped by someone. So Abraham made a big party, and he told Sarah, I want you to nurse these hundreds of children that have come to the party. Many women who brought their children, they were trying to test Sarah and said, hey, if God performed a miracle, you should be able to nurse these children. And Sarah didn't want to nurse them. It wasn't modest. And Abraham told Sarah, you must nurse them. Because when we're trying to sanctify the name of God, there's no room for modesty. And when God's name is at stake, there's no room for excessive privacy. So here too, in our situation, people are abominating the name of God, the name of the Jewish people, the name of Israel, and we must protest. We must sanctify the name of God. We must protest. In Russia, these lunatics tried to make a parade, and they were beaten up badly, and guess what? They did not try again. I'm not suggesting this. However, if we protest the way people protested over a container of cottage cheese, if we protest the way people protested over the price of an apartment, perhaps we can change things, because they changed things. Let's take upon ourselves to protest. We find in Exodus the story of Job. Job was afflicted. He suffered a lot. And the reason he suffered was when Pharaoh asked his advisors, what should we do about the Jewish people? So Job was silent, whereas Jethro ran away. And Jethro merited having Moses as his son-in-law. And Job was given very painful illness. And why was he given such a painful illness? Because when it hurts, you cry out. Job did not cry out, he was silent. When the Egyptians tortured the Jewish people, we cry out. When the Jewish people are suffering spiritually and morally, we cry out.